What's going on, everyone? My name is Chris Dudo, and I am the Goalie Gear Snob, and I'm going to be doing a review of the piece of equipment that I've had the longest in a very, very long time, and it is my CCM Pro Chest Protector that I have owned for just under 6 full years. So let's get into the review now and talk about the Pro Spec Chest. Thank you for joining me here, and I cannot wait to talk about this piece of equipment that I've had for almost six full years. So this is the CCM Pro Chest that I purchased from Thom Christiansen, who runs Valhalla Sport on Sideline Swap. He has a giant pro stock warehouse that is in the Houston area, and I drove down there about 6 years ago to shop around and check out some of the gear that he has, and I landed on this CCM Pro Chest Protector that I purchased from him. So I will link everything down below so you can check out his Sideline Swap page, but he is a great guy and has a lot of good goalie gear on there. But before I get into the full review, I just want to say make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to this video. Let me know what you think about the CCM Pro Chest Protector and NHL Spec Chest in general, and thank you for subscribing. Now, let's talk about it. I specifically wanted to purchase an NHL Spec Chest Protector about 6 years or so ago, just specifically because I really like the idea of having a chest protector that was very mobile. I have a little bit larger of a chest and pec area, so I didn't really like wearing the regular retail spec chests. I always thought that they just made me feel bigger than I really wanted to be, and that I was losing a little bit of mobility. So once I heard that the NHL spec chests were coming out, I made the decision to try to just hunt one down and use one as much as humanly possible. So yes, I did purchase this from Thom down at Valhalla Sport, and I am very happy that I used this chest protector off and on for that 6 whole years. So it wasn't a full 6 years. I did own it that entire time, but I've owned this one specifically, I've used this specifically for about, I'd say almost a full 5 years. I know I've reviewed other chest protectors on this channel. I've talked about plenty in the past. I've worn a few for some different videos, but this has been pretty much the main daily driver that I have had. Some of the other chest protectors that I've reviewed or talked about, I really only wore them maybe 2 to 3 skates, sometimes only 1, but this one has been the go-to for a very long time. So I'm gonna get into some of the history of the NHL Spec Chest Protector and talk about why I really liked this NHL Spec Chest Protector, and ultimately just talk about why you guys should try out the CCM NHL Spec Chest as well. So I'm gonna get into the history now. So if you guys remember, there was a chest protector that came out about 8 years or so ago called the CCM Premier. It was black and yellow, and then there was the 2017 version, which was all black. So about 8 or 9 years ago, the CCM Premier chest kind of revolutionized what goalies were looking for. It had mobility, it had protection, and the shoulder floaters actually, instead of cutting in, kind of stuck out a little bit. So if you got to squeeze your arms in, you actually had a little bit of extra coverage over the arm. And honestly, a lot of people just loved that model. It was very popular amongst the pros, and it was the go-to. Right around this time, there was the change to the NHL spec pants as well. And basically just the NHL doesn't want goalies to cheat. They really just want goalies to rely on their mobility and their technique and their performance to help them make saves. So they tried to reduce some extra ridges, some extra kind of shapes to really conform to the goalie's body, to really make sure that it was just the technique that was making the save, that they didn't have an extra piece sticking off to the side. There's no more 64G goalie cut jerseys like Garth Snow used to use. There's no thigh rises being cut off a pad and sewn on top of another thigh rise like Garth Snow and Chris Osgood used to do. So everything is really kind of managed there so that the goalie is proportionally and specifically measured. So this chest protector came out basically based off of the CCM Premier unit, but it followed all of the NHL measurements that the league was requiring. So again, with my chest shape and what I was looking for, I really just wanted a chest protector that would fit me proportionally. And so I did some research on the NHL rulebook, and I kind of found, this chest protector, albeit almost locally. So that's why I grabbed it. But Now that I've talked about the history a little bit, I actually want to read through a little bit of the rule book here and show you guys some things on this chest protector of how it matches in the rule book so you can better identify the NHL spec chest. So let's read it now. So now I'm going to read through the NHL rulebook here and talk about some of the specific parts that I wanted to highlight from it. First, the NHL rulebook is just on Google. It is on the NHL's website, so I found it just by simply Googling NHL rulebook. This is the 2023-2024 one. The 2024-2025 should be coming out soon, but at the time of this recording, this is the only one that is available. 11.3, chest and arm pads. The chest and arm protector worn by each goalkeeper must be anatomically proportional and size-specific based on the individual physical characteristics of that goaltender. No raised ridges are allowed on the front edges or sides of the chest pad, the inside or outside of the arms, or across the shoulders. And then basically gets into the layering of the stomach protection, but I don't really need to talk much about that here. Further down, it talks about the layering of the elbow floater and specific parts about that. Basically on the elbow, all you need to know is that the front portion of the elbow floater cannot exceed 6 inches in width, and that the full depth from the front to the back cannot go in 7 inches. When you go down to the sides of the elbow, it basically says that the upper portion of the bicep pad should not be more than 5.5 inches across, and that the bottom portion will not be more than 4.5 inches across. And that's pretty much all it really gets into. It goes into the specific thicknesses, etc., etc. Next, it gets into the shoulder caps. Specifically, it talks about the shoulder caps that says that they need to follow the contour of the player's shoulder without becoming a projection or extension above the shoulder. And it does not does not project or extend laterally beyond the player's shoulder more than 1.5 inches. So that's why you see these really short shoulder caps right here. These will not come 1.5 inches past the goalie's shoulder. So it's going to be very form-fitting right there. So the other thing I did want to get into is when we talk about the shoulder floaters specifically, it basically says that the shoulder floaters cannot exceed 5.5 inches. So that's why you're going to see these shoulder floaters that are very specifically proportionally measured across the front right here. So now that I've done a quick breakdown of what the rulebook basically states, I'm going to go piece by piece and talk about why I like this and some of the other features on there as well. And then I'm going to talk about some of the modifications and repairs I've had to do to this unit. So let's get into it. So as you can imagine, I used this chest protector for just about 5 years, and a lot of the straps and the elastic basically just wore out over time. So what I actually did is I actually removed all of the elastic and the Velcro from the chest protector, and I redid it with basically a 1.5 inch nylon. And the nylon I just sewed it closed right here on this side. And then I left some adjustments on the side over here. But basically I just wanted nylon so that it didn't stretch and move on my body. I don't adjust it when I put it on. I just slide it over top so everything fits and feels the same. So that's why I leave everything pre-adjusted. I hate fiddling with my chest protector, so once I put it over top and I tuck it, I want everything to feel the same. So I redid this nylon myself. I picked it up at Joann Fabric and just sewed it on there. So I like how that came out. With the straps, instead of them connecting all the way to the front, which there are tabs for you to be able to do that, I wanted it to stay across the back. So I didn't really want the straps running all the way across the front of the body. I just kept it on the side. So that's why you're going to see them connect right there. But you do have the adjustment point if you want to run it all the way towards the front. So that is the back of the chest protector. That is one modification that I did. And another modification that I did was actually beefing up the upper portion of the arm. So kind of tucked cleverly in here is some Velcro padding. If you guys remember that company, shout out to my good buddy Corby for helping get me some of these pieces when he was working for Velcro. He's now the head equipment manager at ASU, but you just want to give him a huge shout out there. So I just pulled the material out, but basically it's kind of like a 5x5 version of these little tiny squares that tuck in here. So this Velcro padding is very similar to what Farrell used to use on all of their stuff. I basically just tucked it in to the arm right up here and sewed it in. So yes, I do feel quite a bit of shots in the upper arm, but that's just because of skating with the pro guys and from the 5 years of using this. So I sewed that in about a year and a half or so ago, and it has held up incredibly well, and I really like that arm. When I move down towards the elbow, I'm actually just going to remove the arm just to make this a little bit easier. So yes, you can remove the arms entirely on this unit, and they just Velcro on. So as I get that out of the way, I will show you the arm here. This is the left arm. Again, you can see that padding that is tucked through here, and kind of have to press it back in so it stays down. But this is what the elbow floater looks like. And again, you can tell how beat up this is. This elbow floater started to kind of like get more concave and really start to break down. But this arm is super flexible and super mobile. And what I found really attributes to that is this special elbow cap that CCM put in the back. It's essentially a player elbow pad that Velcros through. So just to show you what it looks like here, I'm going to undo the top outside elbow strap, slide it back through. Basically, this is the elbow pad on the inside, and it has 2 adjustment points, one at the top of the bicep, one across the forearm. And once you can adjust the tension and tightness, the elbow really stays up on the arm. That's kind of how I can get away with a Fit 3 chest protector instead of a Fit 2, is because the elbow pads stay a little bit tighter on my arm and kind of hold the arm up. And then you simply just push this strap back through. And once I push it back through, I'll just close everything off. And yeah, so that's how you adjust the elbow pad here. So I really like these arms. I really like the fit. I really like how they've been protecting me. Once I fix some of those areas, they've been really comfortable and very mobile. The big complaint that I have is the amount of wear. So again, this would be the left arm across the inside of the body here. And this material here, it was just slowly wearing away, and this hard material on the inside is just kind of slowly serrating the outer softer foam. And if it was up to me, I would sew this closed and fix it, but honestly, it's not that huge of a deal. It's still protecting me. I don't really mind that it's there, and it hasn't really gotten that much worse in that 5-year period. So I really like how that has been going there. But when I talk about the elastic stretching out, I have noticed that some of the elastics have stretched out across here, which you would expect after using for 5 years. And I had to entirely replace the bottom wrist area where everything attaches. This is actually pulled from a true lacrosse shoulder pad. So I actually put these on here to try to help close this off a little bit because the bottom elastic just entirely wore out. But overall, very happy with these arms, and I really like the protection of it. And now I want to talk a little bit more about some of the other parts of protection on the chest pad. So now that I've taken the arms off, it is a little bit lighter to hold and move around. So now I'm just going to show you guys some other cool features of the NHL spec unit that I really like. So I like that the shoulder floaters have this segment here. So when I put the chest protector on, the top half kind of starts to fold back and can contour a little bit more towards my shoulders, and that makes it a little bit easier for me as I'm looking around, and specifically looking side to side and moving my head around, that the shoulder floater kind of stays out of the way, so I don't feel like I'm hitting my head on my shoulder floaters as much as I was in retail units. I really like these shoulder caps right here. They protect the right amount. They're not out and they're not ginormous. I can easily move my arm in front of my body, and I find that actually reducing that shoulder cap here does make it easier for reaching across my body. As with the retail units, you have that big shoulder cap that sticks out. So yes, it's protective, but I think it kind of hinders mobility a little bit there. I really like the D30 heart guard right here. I've never felt anything really hit me over the stomach or the heart where I was like, oh man, like this hurts. So I really like the D30 in here. And this piece is surprisingly mobile and flexible, but it does stay in the right spot when shots are coming. So I do like that. When I get down into the stomach portion of the chest protector, that's where I've started to feel a little bit more over the last little bit. But I think that's just because this has been the go-to, the daily driver for that long of a time. So I really am starting to feel shots to the bottom of the stomach there. But I do tuck the chest protector, so I am getting a little bit more protection from the pant over top, and that's why I like that. The other thing I did just want to talk about is on the side here. I know that, Scott Wedgwood and a few other guys in the Stars organization and even some other guys in general are really messing with their chest protectors. So if you want to do the old Henrik Lundqvist, where you half tuck the chest protector, or you kind of want the chest protector over top, but you don't want it really covering the suspenders, a lot of guys are actually cutting up the sides of their chest protectors to allow that to happen. But CCM puts Velcro right here, so it stretches a good amount. Some guys are actually entirely snipping this Velcro, so it would be even wider and a little bit more mobile. So I never really felt the need to do that, but that is something I did just want to point out. Something else I did want to point out is the actual inside neck portion. It is tough to see because I did sew it, but I was testing out a neck guard that had a little bit of exposed Velcro right here. It just slowly kind of chewed through the nylon. So I did sew it and repair it. That's really only been one other sew job and modification that I had to do to that chest protector. But now that I've talked about some of that, with kind of like the rest of the protection of it, I want to talk a little bit more about my overall thoughts on it and why I have used it for this long. So let's talk about that. When it comes down to my thoughts on chest protectors, I generally don't like changing them that much. I've always felt that I've wanted a chest protector that just fits the exact same way every time I put it on. I don't have to fiddle with it, that it tucks well and integrates well into the pants. And that's what I have found for the CCM Pro chest. I mean, there is a reason why I have been using it for nearly 6 straight years, and that's just because that's the go-to and it's so comfortable and it fits all of the needs. It checks all the boxes for what I look for in a chest protector. It is NHL spec, so it is fully beefed up to the max to give you the max amount of coverage and the max amount of protection that is allowed under NHL spec. This unit is specifically from a pro locker room, so I know that it was put through testing and it held up very well, and it's still protective, and it's still protecting me to this point. And just the overall size and shape that it gives to my body allows for maximum mobility. And I've always felt that mobility is more important than coverage. I've talked about that at length when it comes to thigh rise sizing, pad sizing in general, that I don't want to cheat when I wear gear. I want my body to make the saves, and I don't want extra portions of the gear necessarily. There are a few ways you can kind of like cheat small little details in certain things when it comes to maybe like knee pads or positioning or etc. But I just don't want to have a chest protector that I'm wearing where like it's sticking out to here. I feel like I'm not going to get the right save on it. It's not going to go where I want it to, and I just want the chest protector to make the saves for me. Specifically for my body shape, I really love that, and I just can't speak highly enough about the NHL spec units. What I did want to talk about now is that there is a 2024 version that CCM has, and that 2024 version is literally the exact same thing that NHL and Major Junior and other pro guys and European pros are wearing. So basically when it comes to this, CCM is doing a really good job of making NHL spec gear available at the retail level. So where I had to go to Houston to purchase this from a friend that runs a pro stock warehouse, I actually think it's great now that at the retail level, you can literally just purchase basically what I hunted down. You can go into your local shop and try it on and see what your thoughts are. And that 2024 version has drastically improved since this version that I am wearing right now. It has a better liner, has some better materials and some better coverage across the floaters, so it actually doesn't kind of get dented in and concave as much as mine has gotten. So I think this 2024 chest is phenomenal, and I'm hoping to be reviewing it here in the near future. So maybe I'll do a little comparison to this 2018 version, who knows. But when it comes to NHL spec chests, I really think that they provide the maximum amount of coverage, mobility, protection, all blended in one, and I can't speak highly enough of that. And I think for goalies that, have been wearing NHL spec gear since the big gear change and the retail change of 2008, 2009, right around that era, I mean, the pad, glove, and blocker have pretty much been NHL spec. So I think more goalies should just get used to the pants and the chest just so they can get the maximum amount of mobility, not really worry so much about the coverage, because you'll get the coverage once you can move into the correct position. So that's my soapbox statement on that. I did just want to ask now, what are your thoughts on the NHL spec chest? Have you tried them before? Have you used them? Is it something you want to use in the future? Who has tried that 2024 chest? Let me know down in the comments what you think about these NHL specs and these rules. And again, Thank you guys for watching along. Hopefully I get to review that 2024 chest in the near future, but I hope you got to enjoy this review of the 2018 version. My name is Chris Dudo, and I'm the Goalie Gear Snob, and thanks for watching. Thanks for watching this video. I'd really appreciate it if you liked, commented, and subscribed, and also rang that cute little Liberty bell for some notifications about what I upload to my channel. Please check me out. Some of my other social outlets are going to be linked down below.